I did say that if ever I was going to pull an upset, it was going to be last week against Patrick. Lo and behold, I did it. And in celebration, I got my hair cut. It looks mediocre, so we'll take it. Anyway, that's 2 weeks in a row of really good scoring, like across the league. And everyone scored 110 or more points at least once across those 2 weeks, except for Scott and Patrick. Patrick got close. We had two scores over 130, two others over 140, and all by different league members. It's still so early in the season. Any one of us, except for maybe one or two, could have one of those weeks and immediately just fly up the standings. Now, since I don't have the resources to book the crew from Channel 69 News on a weekly basis, we're just going to skip right to the power rankings. At number 10 at the bottom, this fucking guy. Same spot as last week. Like, all right, I scored 118 points last week. That's great. Derrick Henry scored a completely useless touchdown as the Ravens got blown out. Then Jordan Addison scored with like literally 30 seconds left to go in his game. Jamar Chase got a garbage time 64-yard bomb. All I'm saying is there's a little bit of blood on that win. I mean, hell, Zach Ertz literally didn't even catch a pass last week, and I'm supposed to like feel good about starting him going forward. Godwin is questionable. Pearsall isn't probably going to play. Jordan Addison's on a bye. It's looking tough out there for your boy. If only someone could make a trade with me. If only. Anyway, at number 9 is Dan, down one from last week. Fuck you, Dan. I'm not putting you 10th, even though you're averaging 96 points a game. That's real shitty. Dan has a bunch of players that I think are like just now starting to kind of pick up. Xavier Worthy might actually be healthy going forward, and Mahomes seems to really want to throw him the ball anyway. Garrett Wilson has touchdowns in 3 straight weeks. Lad McConkey scored for the first time this year. Zach Charbonnet has back-to-back touchdowns. Drake London is now already past his bye and is now like just embedded in Dan's lineup for the rest of the year. Early buys suck, but getting one guy out of the way and now he's just locked in for the rest of the year, I think there's some value in that. This isn't a good team, but it's, I don't think, the worst necessarily. Hooray for small victories, Dan. At number 8 is Kevin, up one spot from last week. Kevin's still last in scoring and last in the standings, but man, he gave Sam a run for his money last week. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm actually supposed to be eating my own dick during this recap, so maybe I'll just save that for the end. If you missed it, by the way, Sam was lamenting to me that he wasn't blowing Kevin out of the water during the Chiefs-Jags game and was afraid, for whatever reason, that the Jags were going to, pick off Mahomes and house it for 6. I was literally so confident that that wasn't going to happen that in an attempt to calm Sam down, I texted him. I was like, listen, man, if that happens, I'll literally eat my own dick. I'm not kidding you. Not 2 minutes later, a Jags defender is hauling ass down the field, and I'm Googling which sauces go best with circumcised man meat. Turns out Thousand Island's the way to go. Had no idea. I'm not even a Thousand Island fan. Anyway, Kevin is rolling out kind of a ragtag group this week without JJ or Nico Collins, so this could be a rough one for him. But he has something with Judkins, with Achane staying healthy, with Darren Waller consistently scoring touchdowns somehow. Plus, he absolutely sniped Hassan Haskins from Dan, outbidding him by literally $1. So, Kevin might be okay going forward. I don't know how good Hassan Haskins is, but that was a guy he wanted. He spent just enough money to get him. At number 7, down one spot from last week, is Scott. Scott has fallen, I think, 3 straight weeks in a row. Being without Neighbors, McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, and Chuba Hubbard, and still scoring 107 last week is an impressive feat for sure. And adding Stephon Diggs a couple weeks ago was also a wise move, since Diggs seems to look like his old self again, or maybe he just really wanted to tell the Bills to go fuck themselves. Anyway, Scott has good talent on his team, especially if the Eagles ever decide to throw A.J. Brown the ball again. And although I don't think I agree with some of Scott's start-sit decisions this week, this team is definitely not dead in the water. Yes, wounded, but not dead. And number 6 is Grant, up one spot from last week. Definitely feels wrong to move someone up after they lose by almost 60 points, and yet here we are. Bijan is past his bye. Bill seems to have won the starting role for the Commanders. Amon-Ra just continues to be a stud, and I'm officially taking the L on Baker. I thought, there's no way that he repeats what he did last year. I even clowned on Grant during the draft because he took him at QB 5 or 6 or whatever, but Baker's QB 3 right now. Granted, Lamar, Burrow, and Jane Daniels are all not healthy. But so even with those, he'd be at QB 6 at worst right now. and which is right where Grant drafted him anyway. Grant definitely has some like volatility and not what I'd call like a complete team, but it's definitely not the worst team in the league, at least right now. At number 5, down one spot from last week, is Tim. Losing Amari and Hampton before you even like really got to use him is brutal. Plus, Bucky is still hurt. Dowdle and Cam Skeet Boob have been good replacements, but now Hubbard and Tracy are both back, so I'm not sure how those workloads will be divided up in those backfields. I guess we'll just have to see. You've still got a very solid wide receiver group and Josh motherfucking Allen. So, like, Tim is a contender to go off in any given week. But frankly, this team has a lower floor than it did a week ago. At number 4, finally up one spot from last week, from the last however long, is Patrick. Jacobs and Kraft are now past their bye. Again, I iterate that having buys in week 5 is fucking insane. Jackson Smith and Jigba is a stud, and pussy boy Rashad White gets another week as the lead back, so that's great. This is a very solid team, but it frankly still has some question marks. Jalen Hurts seems very unlikely to actually like throw the ball ever. Chase Brown is still stuck on the putrid Bengals offense. Like, are we supposed to be excited about Joe Flacco? I can't tell. I don't think I am. Ted McMillan can't score touchdowns because Bryce Young is too short to see over the fucking line. Zay Flowers is missing Lamar Jackson still. And J-Mo only gets like a jet sweep and 2 deep shots in the first quarter each game. And then the Lions just seem to forget he exists. Also, is Joe Mixon never going to play football again this year? We'll see. I don't know. I still like this team. I don't love it. At number 3, down 2 spots from last week, is Sam. All right, hold on. You barely beat Kevin, so that deserves punishment. And so here you are. Still, this team is the second highest scoring team in the league with great running backs, good wide receivers, not to mention Sam's getting good points from his defense and kicker on a consistent basis, which really helps a lot. However, Justin Herbert's offensive line is decimated, and I'm worried about his production going forward. Brock Bowers is hurt. Jordan Mason's on a bye. Sam's rostering 2 kickers for some reason. Sam, you can only start one of them. I'm sorry. Of course, with all this, I'm very much picking nits. This team is really good. It's probably not 125 points a game for a full season good, but it's still definitely good. And frankly, this team's a literal shoo-in for the playoffs at this point. At number 2 is Chris. Same spot as last week. No Lamar, no problem. Chris still dropped 137 points on Scott's chin last week. Chris has the best running back duo in the league. Pickens and QJ continue to impress somehow. And BTJ actually had a pretty solid game last week. 8 yards, nothing to scoff at. The Chiefs are getting back to their old ways of throwing constantly, especially to Travis Kelce, who frankly should have had a touchdown last week. And even though Chris's bench is super shallow, I tend to trust Chris to make the right roster moves and keep this train on tracks towards the playoffs. And that means at number 1, up 2 spots from last week, is Jason. Yeah, that's right, you piece of shit. I'm tired of you scoring points, so here you go. I'm also a little mad about Javonte Williams getting sniped right before I was going to pick him, but I will absolutely never get over Jason blindly picking Egbuka. It reminds me a lot of the scene in the league where Taco just like randomly picks a player that Ruxin wanted next, and Ruxin's like, wait, no, that's who I was going to pick. And Kevin's like, who cares? He picked him. And Ruxin's like, he could have picked fucking Bill Shatner. He doesn't know the difference. And then like, I was like, Jason, what do you want for him? And right in that moment, nothing justified Jason's pick more than that. Right then, Egbuka became untouchable. The second I was like, hey, Jason, I actually wanted that guy. He's like, oh, wait, did I accidentally pick someone good? Oh, my gosh. Like, I firmly believe that right now, if Jason were offered a first-round pick next year for Egbuka, he wouldn't take it. Go ahead. Someone offer him. Dan, legitimately go and offer him a first-round pick for Egbuka. He will not do it. He's too entrenched now. He's like, oh, someone else thought my player was good. Eli was going to draft him. Ugh. I assume that's how Jason jacks off. I haven't watched him in a while. Anyway, this team is good. The bench is deep. And while I don't think that starting the Commanders' defense against the Bears' offense is a good idea, this team is still clearly very good. Good luck this week, Jason. You're not breaking 100 points. I'm putting a curse. You're not breaking 100 points. Anyway, the upcoming matchups. Chris against Jason. Frankly, this should be a heavyweight bout. Oh, wait, that's right. Except Jason isn't going to score 100. What am I talking about? Chris is going to win that one. Patrick against Dan. I think that Patrick could probably bench his entire team except Jacobs and JSN and still win this matchup. Good luck, Dan. You're going to need it. Grant against Tim. So Tim stumbled a little bit. Grant has a little momentum as some of his players are like kind of starting to figure their shit out. I think this one should be close. Plus, as Grant pointed out, 7 players in the Monday night doubleheader will make for an awesome watch in this matchup in particular. It's going to be awesome. Kevin against Scott. Frankly, it's hard to be excited about players on like really bad teams. And Kevin has a lot of players on bad teams like the Browns, Dolphins. I mean, the Bears offense is good, but the Raiders, the fucking Titans, yikes. I'm probably taking Scott in this one. And then there's Sam against me. Sam, your team is just too good. There's absolutely no way I'm going to win this week. No way at all. It's not going to happen. No way. It won't happen. Hopefully someone doesn't get injured. That'd be a bummer. Anyway, that'll do it for this week's recap. Good luck to everyone except for Sam, and go fuck yourselves.